So a website is kind of a place that's always open, right? People can find it at any hour of the day. They can learn more about you. And ideally, what happens is they land on that website and they start binging your content. They're like, oh, I want to download this. And oh, I want to watch this video. And oh, I want to check out this blog post. But I think the one thing that really holds people back from creating their own website or having their own site is when they don't really understand the technical part of it or the value of why they would need this when their company already provides them a website. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. So happy you're here with us today. I have an action-packed episode planned for you. I'm going to share some personal stories, some lessons learned along the way, and I'm going to reveal one tool that you may not be utilizing in your direct sales business today, but is a complete game changer for the long haul and your long-term strategy. So again, super happy you're here, excited to dive into this. Oftentimes, I find myself learning from things that I did when I was in the sales field, and of course, learning from my clients and from my students and applying that back to trainings. But I don't always get super duper granular in talking about my previous businesses. So today, I'm doing it. Today, I'm going to reveal a little bit about how I built my direct sales business. And I always feel weird kind of tooting my own horn, but I had one of the fastest growing teams in the company. I earned Team Leader of the Year twice. I hit some really big milestones, incentive trips, speaking on stages, doing all the things. And a lot of that was because of my approach and how I leaned into digital marketing when I was out in the sales field. So I'm going to talk about what that actually looked like and the steps that I took to get there. So flashback a little bit here to the early age of online marketing and digital marketing. And this is kind of the early times when people weren't really talking about why you needed to have a website or why you wanted to build an email list or how you could create a lead magnet or a freebie to invite people to learn more about your business, how you're going to nurture those leads. So I'm taking it way, way back. And at that time, I was still working a little bit in the corporate world for the leadership training company that I was a part of. And I also had discovered direct sales. And a lot of you have heard my story before, but it grew very, very quickly. As soon as I realized I was onto something, things really snowballed and there was a lot of growth very quickly. So as I was in the sales field, growing my team, building my customer base, doing all the things, I also pretty much always had a podcast in my ear. I was listening to those in the online marketing space like Amy Porterfield, Jasmine Starr, Pat Flynn, Amber McHugh, who's now my business coach. And I was listening to the way they were talking about online marketing and thinking that over in the direct sales world, we were really missing the boat. We were not thinking about any of those things at all. In fact, our companies were simply teaching us to go out and do events or go do in-home parties or go do an online party on Facebook. And that was pretty much the extent of how we talked about building a direct sales business back then. It was go find a host, book a party from a party. Anyone remember that, right? And just keep that going, right? You just want to have a full calendar of parties for your business to grow. Well, here's a little confession. I can do parties. I did parties. I did a lot of parties. They were not my favorite thing to do in the business. I understand the point, right? I was getting in front of new audiences. I was connecting with more people. I did a lot of vendor events also, where I would put myself out there at these huge fairs and festivals where thousands of people were coming by my booth each and every day. But I knew there was a better way. I knew there was a way to work smarter, not harder. And I was learning a lot of that from the online marketing space. So once I landed in that spot of realizing, okay, I'm in direct sales for the long haul. I see the potential here. My income was growing exponentially month after month after month. I realized that the thing that I was missing in my business was having a website. And having a website would allow me to connect with people and attract leads and share content even when I wasn't actually working, right? When I was at SeaWorld with my kids, when I was walking around the zoo, when I was having play dates, because that season of my life, I was changing a lot of diapers too. So when we think back to that season, I was like, okay, I'm going to put this website together. And I did pretty quickly. I actually hired a web designer. This is back when Jeremy was working full time in his corporate engineering job. But I hired a web designer that helped me build beckysbookcorner.com. And that website was the foundation and hub of my business. I had freebies, I had opt-ins, I had monthly subscriptions available for people, I had a blog. And at the same time, I also started building out our training content because anytime somebody on my team asked me a question more than once or twice, then I created a blog post about it or I recorded a video about it. And oh my gosh, my videos back then, they were a little embarrassing. But you got to start somewhere, right? So I had two different websites that were working for me. One that was designed for my team, which obviously turned into Modern Direct Seller down the road. That was far more than just for those people on my team. And then I also had this Becky's Book Corner website. And as that website began to grow, I would have incoming leads for people from all over the United States looking for a certain product from me or asking me if I was available to do an event. But it really elevated my personal brand and gave me the opportunity to connect with people and for them to see my face and hear my story and hear why I love the products. So they would join and become one of my customers or one of my teammates. So I kind of had that system working for me on autopilot in the background while I was out there serving my customers. So a fun twist to our story that you may not have heard is the very first course that Jeremy and I created for direct sellers was a course called Launch Your Website in a Weekend. And the reason why we created that course was because so many people on my team, so many people in my business were like, what are you doing with this website? How is your business growing so quickly? Tell me how you did that. So at that point, Jeremy was like, yeah, we could totally show people how to do this. And our website was created on WordPress. And if any of you have any web or tech or development experience, you know that like there's a little bit of a learning curve. We might have been a little overly ambitious in telling people that they could do it in a weekend. Some people definitely did it in a weekend. Some people, it took a lot longer than that. And so we had this course, we had this offer, we showed people how to build a website essentially from almost scratch using WordPress. And so after learning from that, we realized, okay, this is a lot for people. This is maybe a little bit too much. This isn't exactly what they need. How do we refine this offering to make it easier for people? And so fast forward a couple years later, I had the opportunity to go build a business with another brand. And what was the first thing I did? I built a website. And that website was amazing, by the way. And I had full permission and sign off from the company to go create this website. And I received a call from compliance. This might resonate with some of you. And they said, oh, we saw your website and I know that we told you you could do that, but it actually is a whole lot better than we thought it was going to be. So we're going to need you to take that down now because we're getting too many complaints. So, oh my gosh, yeah, that was a moment. We could untangle that whole story later on. But long story short, I was like, okay, understood, noted. My website was too good. So long story short, fast forward years later, now obviously I'm in the training space, not in the sales field. You could go take a peek at beckysbookcorner.com. It's still up. And fun fact, I still get leads all the time for people coming to ask me to do book fairs or random things. I am not actively working that business. So I happily pass them off to my friends that are still active with that company. But if you wanted to get a peek of kind of what that looked like, it's still there and still sort of working for me, even when I'm not working that business. So we pivoted and we pivoted again. That's the moral of the story here today on the podcast is sometimes life takes you one way, then you go another way. But Launch Your Website in a Weekend was an amazing offer. We loved it, but we realized it was too complicated. So we pulled back from spending time on that course offer. We launched the Academy. We launched courses for direct sellers. We built toolkits for direct sellers. And then we kind of came back around to this idea of building websites for direct sellers. At the time, I was in a corporate training role working with a direct sales company, and their sales field started creating their own websites to sell their inventory. And when we started seeing what people were doing in the sales field, we were like, "Ooh, these websites, this is not good. This is not good." So they actually asked, "Hey, can you create a template that people could use that meets our brand look and, going to be really easy for people to use?" And so, like a typical entrepreneur, Jeremy and I are like, "Well, yeah, we could do that." So that is when Oh My Hi was born. So Oh My Hi is a very simple fill in the blank template. And when we launched it, a lot of it was kind of locked down because we didn't want people fiddling around with fonts and colors and making a mess out of it. Like, it can happen if you're not a web or a graphic designer. And probably had a few hundred people that got started over on Oh My Hi. So as our user base continued to grow over with Oh My Hi, people, of course, started asking for more functionality. So about a year ago, we added a blog to Oh My Hi to give people the opportunity to have simple page templates, but also unlimited blog posts that they could use to create content to share online. It was around the same time that I did a lot of training about how to take long form content and turn it into short form content. So if you need a tutorial on that, moderndirectseller.com/content. You can grab that content strategy to kind of wrap your head around the type of content you can create for a blog or an email and then repurpose it in the social content that you're sharing across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you're hanging out. So Oh My Hi has gone through a couple of transitions, and we're super excited because we are adding more to it now. I feel like things have almost come full circle to where we were before, but not quite. It is still very simple, easy to use. We have incredible team and support to help people actually launch their website, whether it's a weekend or a few hours or a couple of weeks. You go at your own pace at this point. But over on Oh My Hi, we now have email marketing, and we also have a light CRM that has been added to Oh My Hi. And today, if you're listening to this podcast in real time, we're still in a little bit of the beta process, and it's only available to our existing users. So we're migrating over our VIP members that have access to Oh My Hi as part of their membership, our existing Oh My Hi members. And then come next month, we are announcing the pre-launch of Oh My Hi with an official grand opening in January. So that's a long-winded story of where we've been and where we are going in terms of websites. But I wanted to talk a little bit today here on the podcast about why this was such a secret weapon for my business and why this website helped really grow my business at a faster rate than anything else that I had going on. So, the first piece of it, which I alluded to, is that people get to know you. They get to see your face. They get to hear about the products that you love. Now, if you're hanging out on social media, they might be seeing a piece of that. But if they are just finding you through your company replicated site, or if they just head over to your company site, they're not going to get to see all of you. And we want them to see all of you. We know people shop with you because they love you. So you can think of a website as a place to build your personal brand, a place for you to really show off your personality and share your favorite products and put things into your own words. Because as much as your customers love the product and they love the beautiful marketing images and all the content that your company provides you, they love to see things in your own view, even if it's not as polished or as buttoned up as a corporate graphic or a corporate email that they're getting. People love to hear from you. We know we're in the relationship business, and having a website gives you a hub to build all that content on. Now, I've shared this before, but I'll mention it again. We know that social media has a pretty short lifespan. In fact, most content you're sharing on social media is no longer relevant in, I don't know, 24 hours, 48 hours. We see how quick people fly through social media, right? So the cool thing about a website and the content you're creating for a website is it actually gains visibility over time. That's why I'm still getting leads to do book fairs for a business I'm not working. That content ranks really high. If you look for Usborne Books San Diego, I'm up there in the top search results because I created that content a while back and it continues to gain visibility. The opposite happens on social media. So if you have a little bit of a love-hate with social media, as I do, we know the content that we create is great for today, great for tomorrow, great for connecting with people real time, but it's not going to serve us a year from now. It's not going to serve us 6 months from now. It's probably not even going to serve us a couple months from now. So the cool thing about having a website is that the hard work that you're putting into the content that you're creating has a home. It has a place to live where people can come and find it, and it's going to gain that visibility over time. The other cool thing is there's a central place to send people to. So if you're a direct seller and you're out there meeting people and they're like, well, where can I learn more about you? Right? Yeah, you could send them to your VIP group. You could send them to your Instagram handle. You could send them to your company replicated site. The list goes on. And that's why many people use a tool like Linktree to simplify those links of all the different places where people can find you, learn about you. Also in Oh My High, by the way, there's a links page that looks just like Linktree. So that's also a really nice parallel there. So one of the cool things about having your own website and having this central place to send people is that it allows you to baby step into getting to know someone, right? So if we send them to our corporate site, they're probably going to get lost in the shuffle. Right? Maybe they're going to find their way out of there. Maybe they're going to place an order. Maybe it'll be an open window on their computer. And then when their computer restarts, all their tabs close and they forget where they were before, right? But if you send them over to your website, they're connected with you. They're going to remember you. They're going to remember your voice, your brand, your name, your website, and they can learn more about you and your products before moving forward into actually making a purchase over on the site. So sometimes we need that in-between space from getting to know somebody before they're ready to purchase. And that's exactly where your website would fit in. The other cool thing about having a website is it's a place to collect leads. And that website is working for you 24/7. So you don't have to be in somebody's living room. You don't have to be attending that networking event. You don't have to be standing at that vendor event. If people are landing on your website, there's a place for them to opt in. That means putting in their name and their email address for you to get to know them, nurture that lead that you're getting after they've opted into your email newsletter or a freebie or a download or a checklist or a video series or a coupon. The list goes on, whatever that is that's going to pull them in. And there is a ton of research out there that an email list is so much more valuable than a follower on social media. An email subscriber allows you to connect with them directly in their inbox. And you'll have to go back and listen to our last episode when we talked a little bit about why email marketing is a must-have for your business. So once they're over on your website, they subscribe to your emails, you nurture that lead in the background via email and drive them back to making a purchase. So a website is a kind of a place that's always open, right? People can find it at any hour of the day. They can learn more about you. And ideally, what happens is they land on that website and they start binging your content. They're like, oh, I want to download this. And oh, I want to watch this video. And oh, I want to check out this blog post. But I think the one thing that really holds people back from creating their own website or having their own site is when they don't really understand the technical part of it or the value of why they would need this when their company already provides them a website. And then the other piece is it just feels hard. So I am so excited about what we have coming to Oh My High. And I know it's still about a month away, so I'm teasing it very hardcore for you right here. But definitely head over to ohmyhigh.com. You could put your name on the wait list. So you could be the very first to know when it becomes open. And one of my most favorite things about the Oh My High platform is that we have pre-built templates specifically for direct sellers. So it's not like you're going to go to Wix or Squarespace or any other website where you're really starting from scratch and they don't know anything about the business or the industry, but we know direct sellers and we're giving you the templates, we're giving you the fill in the blank content so you can easily launch this really quickly and then you can continue to build and layer in more and more. I was just talking to some of our VIPers about how they've added a fundraising page to their website as a central place to send people that are donating to a fundraiser that they're running this holiday season. Some people are using the forms for people to request samples, so you can send out samples to them. There's blog posts on all kinds of product. I have one specific VIPer that I know that a product that she has blogged on ranks higher than even their corporate website. So there's so much opportunity for people to get to know you, to find you, to binge your content, for you to build your personal brand. And not to mention, it's another place for you to connect with people outside of social media and outside of your direct sales company. So if by chance social media changes one day or everyone leaves the platform or you get locked out of your account, you have a place to still connect with people. And it also safeguards you if something happens with your company. Maybe you don't have access to your contacts anymore. Maybe your company changes their business model and you decide to pivot. Your website is working for you and it's territory that you own. So if you are in a spot thinking about your plans for the rest of 2024, moving into 2025, how you're building your personal brand, how you're elevating and professionalizing what you do, or if you're just trying to figure out this digital marketing piece in your business that feels really hard or scary or mysterious, I'm telling you, we got you covered. So make sure you come check out Oh My High. I can't wait for our pre-launch to happen in November. But until then, think about some of these tools and systems that you can create for your business so they're working for you, so you don't have to be on 24/7 and you can continue to capture those leads and connect with people online. So with that said, this was a fun episode. I think I shared, maybe overshared, a lot about where I've been and a lot about where we are going and what opportunities are in front of you in the digital marketing space to continue to grow your direct sales biz faster. So thanks for being here today. This was a fun one, and I look forward to seeing you back next week for the podcast. All right, take care, everyone. We are proud to welcome CinchShare as the newest sponsor of the Modern Direct Seller podcast. CinchShare is the #1 most trusted social media platform for network marketers, direct sellers, affiliates, independent consultants, virtual assistants, small businesses, and creators in any industry. Start your 30-day trial today with coupon code GAMECHANGER and spend less time posting and more time socializing.